Guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about how I went from being on universal credit to earning 10k a month. As a disclaimer, I'm not saying the things that I share here are the best way to do things. I'm just going to be showing you my exact blueprint and the things that I did which allowed me to achieve this in a relatively short time frame. So what I'm going to walk you through first is my journey. This is where it began. What I was doing in kind of the lockdown days, I was a tennis coach. I was working at a David Lloyd club. You can earn all right money being a tennis coach. It wasn't like poor. However, you're capped, and in my opinion, you're doing one of the worst things, which is selling your time. I'm literally renting myself out for an hour, and the problem is when lockdown happened, that stopped, right? Tennis became illegal, so what I was having to do was I was going to this park court. This is literally in like a rough area near where I'm from. And I was training my clients at this park court. I was making a little bit of money until the police came to my house and actually threatened to fine me for coaching tennis because Karen reported me. So that kind of put the end to that. And that was the end of all my income as well. So as a byproduct to that, I was on universal credit. I was making £311 a month. On top of that, I had a clothing brand at the time, which I was putting all my money into. And I made some bad decisions. I overloaded on stock and I was actually in £20,000 worth of debt. So not only was I making barely any money, I literally was in a shitload of debt as well. And this is the route that I started to go down, right? Entrepreneurship 101. This picture is just showing how tired I am. I often look back at this and laugh because this is what is necessary. What I'm about to show you is how you can change your life, is how you can make more money, but it does require you to look like this. But with a couple of years of sacrificing and looking like that, this is me kind of nowadays. I do typically a minimum of 10k a month, and my goal starting out was to be a digital nomad. I want to be able to travel the world and work from my laptop, and this is what I do now. This is me literally last week chilling in Cancun. I made a couple of grand literally on that holiday and went out pretty much the majority of the time in the evening. I think 10k a month is kind of a sweet spot. I can only speak from my perspective, and I'm in my 20s right now. I personally think earning this type of money makes you a better person. When you really boil it down, I think your duty as a man is to be a provider. It's to be a provider and to be a protector. Now, loving and caring about the family and all that, that is very important, but it will only get you so far. Kindness and compassion do not pay for private healthcare bills. I mean, touch wood. If a family member got sick, for me, I'm a lonely child. And my blood family is very small. It's pretty much my nan, my dad, and my mum. So if anything ever happened to those, and it required, some form of expensive private healthcare, I have to be the one to pay for that. It doesn't matter how much I love them or any of these things. Universal credit will only get you so far. You need to make more money so you can protect and look after your loved ones properly. At some point, I'd like to think that I'll get a girlfriend. And I'm sure the same is for you guys, right? For you to be the man of the house and for you to look after your future kids and to look after her properly, this is kind of what real life looks like now. Real life, normal life, average life is expensive alone. A deposit for a house is what, 50k? A wedding, you're probably looking at like 20k. And this is, bear in mind, average. Your standard life expenses, you want to go on a few holidays every year, get the odd nice thing. Could be looking at 10 grand. Decent car, nothing like a Lambo or anything like that. You're looking at 10k. And if we're saying the average person saves, what, £1,000 a month, which is a hell of a lot more than what I was doing when I was a full-time tennis coach, it's going to take you 8 years. 8 years of your life being that disciplined, never going above that, saving at least £1,000 a month just to be average. It's fucking nuts. Other motivations for me, I want to go on multiple holidays a year. I feel like we've been conditioned that, you go on one holiday a year. That's a lot more than I went on as a kid. 2 holidays a year, 3 holidays a year if you're lucky. Why not be able to go every single month? These are just self constraints we put on ourselves by looking around at our peers, but you are able to follow a different path. Another interesting thing which I've noticed when I started doing 10k a month is that you unlock the door to a different caliber of attractive women. I'm careful how I frame that because I don't necessarily mean better women. This definitely comes with its own drawbacks, but definitely more attractive women that I've seen in my case. And what's interesting here, you don't have to have as much game. You don't have to graft as much. And it's not even that you're going around saying how much you make or whatever. They can just feel that you look after them better. You can take them to nicer restaurants. And it's not simping the girls. Like, I enjoy these restaurants as well. And I think they can feel that. And it's not even bad. I don't think that means they're gold diggers or anything, Most guys like the idea of having a hot, attractive girlfriend. And most girls like the idea of having a guy that can look after them and take them to nice places. Who wouldn't want that? So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I guess the main benefit is that you can start living life on your own terms. You know, if you can create this type of lifestyle, I don't have anyone telling me if I can go on a lunch break or not. I don't have to ask someone if I can go on a holiday, if I can go to someone's wedding. You know, these are all things which, like, that, it just baffles me that that's so accepted. You don't have to slave away for 5 days of the week just to live for 2. And that's really why I'm passionate about sharing this message, because I want most people to experience that level of freedom as well. In order to design the life that you want, you need to have absolute clarity on the things that you value and what you view success as. So for me, I define success in my 20s, because I do think it changes at different stages of life. But I define success in my 20s as earning a bare minimum of 100k. I want to be able to travel the world and work from my laptop, and to not ask for permission for time off. I don't want to ask someone permission to take a lunch break. I just want to live life on my own terms, but make sure you understand, what does success look like for you. So as you start your journey on wanting to make 10k a month to have a better life, we're going to have to plan your escape. And one of the biggest things that we're going to need to do that is you're going to have to save money. You need money in order to invest in your skill sets. Typically, the amount of money that you make is a reflection of the value that you bring to the marketplace. If you're not making as much income as you want, it's probably because you're not providing enough value. So we need to learn some high value skill sets. I personally saved a 5k freedom fund, and this is the amount that I would recommend, and I think it gives you a really good start. And you know, we're going to talk through later what we're going to do with those things, but we'll definitely put you in a good position. And this is an amount which is achievable for everyone with a little bit of discipline. The amount of money you have saved simply reflects your habits and your discipline. This is something which is very true. Are you the type of person that when they get paid, they go out into the pub, into the clubs, and they spunk it on drinks, and you essentially do things which harm you? If you start saving these things and can invest it into yourself, you're going to see much a greater return later down the line. Here's my cheat sheet on some of the best ways to save. And these are the things that I did. And bear in mind, you know, I was saving probably about £300 a month. So I needed to do additional things. So number one is you need to work as much as you can and sell your time. Because you're not that skilled, you don't have something where you don't have to not sell your time. You pretty much have no choice but to work a lot. I would then be selling the things that you don't use, or sell the things which are bad for you. You know, if you've got stuff like, I don't know, an Xbox, coming into entrepreneurship, coming into the process where you need elite focus to change your life, that's the type of thing that's going to be a distraction. Selling those things is a quick way to accumulate a couple of £100s. The next thing is you should reduce your monthly subscriptions and your food costs. I'm not saying eat unhealthy. This is actually going to be a crucial factor. But, you know, how much does it really cost to get some rice and chicken? You don't need, this is not the time where you need to be having really high expenditure food shops. And reduce your monthly subscriptions. It is not going to kill you to not have Netflix for a month. It's not going to kill you to not have Spotify Premium. Yeah, use YouTube. There are other alternatives if you do have to do that type of stuff. The biggest tip, and one which was massive for me, is stop drinking and going out for food. Going out for food, typically in my case anyway, turned into food and drinks, and that can turn into like £100 every time you go in. This was actually a blessing in disguise, because obviously you don't want to not go out if you're in your 20s. You want to have some fun. Go out sober, learn to socialise, going out sober. I would never miss out on a night out, but I would barely spend any money. I would go out with my friends, I would socialise, I'd still speak to people, but I'd be completely sober. I would get a taxi to the club, so I wouldn't be wasting £40 of time. And I'd just be drinking, you know, water, or if you really feel self-conscious, want to blend in, like I did sometimes, I would be drinking, you know, sparkling water with some squash. And that is actually something which I'm really grateful for when I look back, because that improved my people skills loads. And the next thing is that you need to learn to pay yourself first. Pay your savings account first. Open up a separate account. That's the money which is going to be for your freedom fund. And your number one priority every month is going to be saving right now. So you're taking a set amount and putting it into that account at the start of every month as a completely non-negotiable. Since we're going to be going into a mode where we're focusing on aggressive saving and we're going to be really locked in, you're going to need to develop some other positive habits. You're going to have to change where you get fulfillment from. The number one non-negotiable, and I think it is ridiculously arrogant, the amount of people that want to do cool things and don't read. That is outrageous. Like, if you think about it, the best thinkers in the world are putting all their best tips and tricks into a book, and they're giving it you for free. This is before the YouTube days, a lot of these, right? They're not trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to give you value. Like, if you are ignoring that, you are genuinely a retard. Like, if you are not reading, you deserve to be poor. You deserve to not have the things that you want, because that is the number one thing which is going to accelerate you. Some of my favorite books, and the ones which really helps me, and these would be the three that I would recommend, is a book called Profit First. That's going to tell you how to structure your finances when you're going into business. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a book which teaches you, just kind of how to make money work for you, gives you good saving habits. And The Secret, The Secret talks about the law of attraction. I think this is important because, there's going to be a lot of imposter syndrome and self-doubt which creeps in as you're on this journey. That's something that can keep your mind on the right path. And if the mind's right, the rest of the things tend to follow. Fitness is going to be a big thing. You're going to have to get used to enjoying things without spending money for a little bit. One of the best blessings that can come with that is, because you're not going to be in the clubs all the time, you're not going to be, doing mad motives, you're going to have less time. Focus on your fitness. Use this as a camp to improve your mind and improve your body. A way that I actually combine reading and fitness is that every morning as a non-negotiable, I'll do 20 minutes on a bike. I'll listen to an audio book. That way I'm benefiting my fitness and I'm actually learning at the same time. This is probably quite a controversial one, but you're not going to have weekends for a minute. As a startup entrepreneur, unfortunately, you're going to have to work more than the average person because, like I said, our time is not worth as much right now in terms of the monetary value. So just sacrifice the weekends for it. Get up early, make sure they're productive, invest in yourself, learn. This is when you should be doubling down on your reading, doubling down on your fitness, doubling down on, any of the 1% things which are going to help you achieve that 10K a month mark. Cut out girls for a bit. I'm the first one that loves going out with girls or whatever, but just they're a big distraction, right? More often than not, if you're not seriously going to be dating these people, which, dating is expensive, man. Like, that money needs to be going into you funding your dreams. And once you're making more money, 10K a month, you're going to be able to attract prettier girls anyway. And you'll need to have less game because they will be aware and you will be aware as well that you bring more to the table. That will change, your dress sense. You'll be able to buy more clothes. You'll walk around different. You'll feel more self-confident. So just put girls on the back burner for a sec. One of the biggest tips that would have saved me absolutely thousands is don't follow your passions. And I know that goes against a lot of things which people are taught and they sound really fancy in that. Now, my background, the two things that I'm more passionate about than marketing, surprisingly, I don't think there's a lot of kids that grow up and say, I want to go into marketing, is my initial life plan was I wanted to be a professional tennis player. This is me at the bottom. And the reality is I wasn't good enough. Now, if I continuously lie to myself and I say, follow your passions, go and travel the world and go and try and make it as a professional athlete, would I have been better? Would I have been in a better position in terms of my pro tennis career? Of course, but I would not have been good enough, no matter what I did, to make a living from it. And I've got other dreams. I want to have a house, I want to have a family, I want to have a nice car, I want to live a life of abundance, and tennis would not have paid me that amount. My second passion is I had a clothing brand. My old clothing brand, Araya, that was something that I love more than anything, and I was chucking my money into it continuously. I burned thousands. I was in so much debt with that, and it did all right. Look, we got like one of the most beautiful models, big names wearing the stuff. It was featured in Vogue magazine, but again, with that type of stuff, you need so much money to make it big. It wasn't a business. It looked cool to have it in the Instagram bio or whatever, but it wasn't paying me any money. And if I would have continuously chased both of these things, I would have literally been broke and I would not be able to live my dream lifestyle. You will become passionate about the thing that funds your dream lifestyle, the thing which allows you to live out your dream lifestyle. That is what you're going to be most passionate about. So then the question becomes, what is the career that you're going to pursue that is going to be the easiest way to make 10K a month? You need to focus on what is the easiest way to win. In terms of the businesses that I think you should avoid when starting out, it's typically the get rich quick, super sexy ones, right? I've done a lot of these. Drop shipping is terrible. What people don't tell you is that it requires so much testing, such a big budget on ad spend. It's very, very difficult when you're competing against the likes of Amazon. Clothing brands, if you want to earn £1 million worth of turnover, right, you've got to be able to afford £500,000 worth of stock. E-commerce, pretty much anything product business, right? You're going to have to buy that stuff at the start. And, you need to be in a position where you're saving all that capital and putting it into developing your skills. So I would not suggest any form of product business. And the one-time transactions, it is hard to sell anything It's hard to sell anything. So if you are going to sell, make sure it's something that's going to consistently use, that's going to bring you recurring revenue. That will take the pressure off having to make new sales every single month. So what are the best businesses to start? What are the easiest ways to win? In my opinion, you should be focusing on recurring revenue business models. These are typically service businesses, right? A bit less sexy than the e-commerce, whatever, but they're scalable and they appeal to the masses. What we're trying to do is focus on things which are services, so they reduce our risk, but it's not something where you have to sell your time directly by the hour. My top 5 ones that I'd recommend, number 1 is landing page and web design, building people website. There are so many like tradesmen which make serious bank that don't have websites. You could literally design a website, cold email these guys and be like, hey, I've got a website, if you want this is £200. Next one is video editing. There's definitely becoming an emergence of more and more demand for video content. If you can edit people's YouTube videos and edit people's TikToks, which, the average 15-year-old kid is a decent video editor, that's something which you could learn in a day and turn that into 10k a month if you're very organized. Paid media advertising, this is the route that I chose. That's when you're running people's Facebook ads and Instagram ads. You can essentially learn to bring businesses more revenue by bringing them more customers, super high value skill. High ticket closing, when people have any form of lead generation, or if you're bringing them new prospects, they need someone to close the deals. If you're good with people, that's something which I'd recommend. And social media manager, run people's TikToks, run people's Instagrams. That's a relatively low skill job, which if they're busy, they don't have time to do. So we're going to kind of jump and we're going to assume that you've decided the route that you're going to take. And you've also saved up a bit of money right now. Even if you haven't hit the 5k mark, the number one thing you need to be investing in, as we've already touched on, is investing into your skill set. Buy some online courses. These are the things that I did. Now, this is me with the Facebook ad blueprint by Wisa Ibarra. I wouldn't actually recommend that. Pretty basic. However, why I'm a big fan of investing in courses, that even if 90% of it is rubbish, like if you just take one thing from it, it's such a high income skill. A lot of the ones that I've just named is that you can turn that into thousands. I actually bought Iman Gadzi's course. It was Agency Navigator, and that, to be honest, it changed my life. That was 1.5k. That was pretty much all of the money that I had saved at that moment in time. And the reason it changed my life wasn't necessarily because the course was really good. It teaches you how to set a business up, but it doesn't teach you kind of the skills required to sell. But I used initiative. I went on YouTube and learned outside of it. And as you can see here, I invested in a mentorship. This is an agency which actually ran my clothing brand. And I did a 3-month mentorship with these guys. It was all right, but they gave me 2 good referrals and they got my confidence up as well. So a combination of all these things, online courses alone are not enough. You need to have the initiative to go and learn on top of them. Go and watch some YouTube videos, do mentorships, and you'll become more confident, and it will definitely point you in the right direction for you to develop skills. Now that you've got a bit of money saved up, you're investing in learning some high income skills. It's now game time. It's now how we're going to get this business off the floor. And then one thing you're going to have to do if you want business owners to take you seriously, actually start working with you and paying you, is you're going to have to make sure you're available in working hours. You're going to have to now use working hours, the hours of 9 and 5, to work on your startup business. I'm not saying you need to go all in at this point. I don't think it's a good idea to quit your 9 to 5 or however you're paying for your lifestyle. But what it might mean is that take a job which is worse for the time being. Get a job where you can work in the evening so you can dedicate that time in order to making sales. Things that I'd recommend: Uber, be an Uber driver, Deliveroo, work in a bar. That would be a fun one. For me, I was very fortunate. Obviously, I had a good skill I was trying to be a professional tennis player. So I was working at a David Lloyd club. Evenings, I'd be selling my time and I would be training, kids on how to be tennis players. And that was something I could actually get paid for, right? Because I had that skill. But if I wasn't doing that, I probably would have been a bartender or done something like this. How are we even going to get clients? How are we going to start making our money? You have to master outreach. There's loads of different ways to get clients, and there's loads of good forms of outreach. I don't necessarily think these are the best ones, but these are the best free ways to get clients. Instagram DM outreach. There's a limit of 750 people a day. That's a hell of a lot of people. Hit your bare minimums, outreach these people, see if you can give them some form of free value, show them how good you are. Cold email, there's loads of ways you can get people's email addresses. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that with GDPR, but if you're a small fish, you'll probably be all right. Short form content, create TikToks, showing your expertise or showing how you can edit other people's TikToks. That's a great way. Or get into Facebook groups and communities, pick the niche that you can help. If you want to help chiropractors, find a Facebook group with all the chiropractors in the local area and get in there. And one which is super slept on nowadays in a world where everyone is so connected but lacking human interaction. Walk in. Be brave. Go into someone's, shop. Go into someone's practice and actually shake a hand. This is something, if you come across well in person, it's going to work in your favor. People buy off people. Relationship sales is one of the most overlooked things. And be creative with it. One of the things that I did, which actually signed me 2 clients, I don't do this so much now because I don't have the time, is I use a combination of these things. So I would send mass cold emails to dental practices, and then I would walk in with a Krispy Kreme and attach a label on it and leave it for the founder saying, hey, I dropped you an email. These people think, oh wow, who's this? And they go and look for you. You can send the next email the next day saying, hey, hope you enjoyed the donut. This is what I want to do for you. It'll get you in the door. They will open your presentation. And sometimes that's all it takes in order for you to get on a call and get a client and make a sale. If you've learned the skills and you're absolutely smashing outreach, that's the thing you should be spending all your time on, we're now talking about how you can really level up. And one of the biggest things, which is so overlooked, is the environment that you live in and the people you surround yourself with. There's a fantastic book called Who's in Your City? It's by Richard Florida. And what that says is that you are statistically more likely to earn more if you're in a city. So not only do these people typically get paid more, which won't actually impact you that much as an entrepreneur, it's the mindset. Cities whisper, you can really feel that hustler mentality. And that's in the cities. People talk more money here. There's more things happening. I'm from a pretty much countryside town. You need to get in these big cities. So I moved to Manchester. And as I was moving to Manchester, it seems counterproductive, right? I'm trying to save money. I'm trying to earn more money. But I'm going to a place where my rent was triple the cost of how much it was costing me in my hometown. And everybody says that's a bad idea. But renting is not burning money. Even though my rent increased, what nobody told me is that you're now going to be around different people. You're now going to be around different people that think different. And typically, the people that earn more money and the winners, they all flock together in the cities. That perspective change, that mindset change, that being around other people who are hungry and want the same things and are thinking about how can I be the best version of myself, which are definitely the type of people that I've encountered by living in a city. That mindset change is going to allow you to have different ideas, which are going to result in you making more money. Your environment is going to impact your state, your thoughts, and your ideas. And the ideas and the thoughts that you have are going to lead to your actions. And those actions are going to be the things which can potentially help you to earn 10K a month. Also, just, the people that you're around, walking into coffee shops. I've wore nice aftershaves out. And some guy stopped me in the coffee shop and said, are you wearing Ombre Nomad, which is this quite expensive Louis Vuitton fragrance? And I'm thinking, this guy knows about this £300 perfume. What do you do? Turns out I had a business. Next day we're on a call because we've networked in person. So these networking opportunities, they don't exist everywhere. 100% get out of your hometown and get into a city where things are happening. There's one absolute cheat code which is going to allow you to, propel your success and allow you to do things much faster. It's your network. Can you be friends with people that want the same things as you, that are doing the same things as you? Or best case scenario, if they're already doing what you do. I'm so lucky that, I've really got a good circle of friends in Manchester, but it was almost designed, not in an arrogant way that I'm picking my friends, but, these people in the picture, Louis owns a marketing agency and is making more money than me, especially at that time. Jordan runs the ads for Crafted. Crafted is like the biggest jewelry brand, I think, in the world, at that price point. And Jordan is absolutely crushing it in a corporate job. So it gives me a different perspective than entrepreneurship. There's other ways that you can make that type of money without being an entrepreneur, and ways that you can develop your network. So reach out to those that literally do what you want. Louis and Jordan, I actually DM'd them on Instagram when I moved to Manchester. You can see the message that I even said to Louis, moving to Manchester on the 21st, be good to link up, trying to make some entrepreneur friends. So's he. That leads us to going for a beer, and the value I've got from being friends with him, he's helped me so much in terms of giving me advice and stopped me falling into traps that I definitely would have fallen into myself if I didn't have that good network around. Use spareroom.com. So when I moved here, and like when I moved actually into like the city, I didn't think I'd have any friends, and I met Jordan on spareroom.com. I chose to live in a quite a flashy place, a nice place. So I knew that would be the cutoff for someone with a certain level of income. And now we're like brothers, you know. And there's a saying that I heard the other day, and it stands really true, is that your day ones are important. So I'm not saying, you know, disregard your friends from back home. You've always got to have your day ones. But more often than not, your day twos are going to be really important. These are the people that you're more similar to. If we're being honest, and not a lot of us are similar to the person that we were when we were at school, and therefore the friends that we have at school. It's important that you develop new networks, you get your day twos, and these are the people that you have more in common with and are going to help you achieve the goals and live the life that you really want. So if you followed all of the last steps, you're really smashing it with outreach, you moved out your hometown, I imagine life is going to be looking a lot better for you. You're probably making a little bit more money now. But how do we really get to that 10k a month mark and surpass that? So in order to take things to the next level and to make more money, you're going to have to make more sales. And the way that you're going to make more sales is that you're going to need more leads to sell to. You're going to need to shake more hands. You're going to need to book more meetings, take more calls, and help more people. Now, doing outreach, there's only so many ways that you can do that. Often with a lot of the outreach methods, there's limits, and they're quite time consuming. So the way that you can bypass that is what my agency does. And this is through, you know, Meta advertising or Google advertising. You need some form of paid media advertising, and that's going to be able to really leverage the amount of leads that you get. You can run an advert which is going to state your offer, and people will sign up to that offer, which you can show to hundreds of thousands of people. And then that's your way of outreach. You can get these people on a call. If you're not in a position where you want to invest into your outreach and do paid ads just yet, then just 10x your best method of outreach. 10x it. Just triple down on whatever is working at the moment. If it's the donut thing, then you need to go and buy a load of donuts. If it's cold DMing, make sure you're just so on that and be obsessed with shaking more hands, meeting more people, and helping more people. That's going to be the only way that you can make more money and expand. And by following these principles, this is what life kind of looks like for me at the moment. I went from, in a very short period of time, teaching tennis in the snow on those courts, right, earning no money, and now I live in the nicest place in Manchester, a super nice skyrise apartment that's got a jacuzzi in and a gym. I'm in a position where I can take my family members out. You know, I'm taking my mum to Copenhagen, which is going to be my next vlog. That's like, you know, she hasn't been on holiday in like 10 years or something like that. And I'm able to go on holidays, you know, I'm able to travel the world. At the moment, I'm going on holiday once a month. You know, none of these things would have been possible without following these principles, without taking responsibility of my own life, you know, making the decision to change it. And I truly believe, you know, if you want it bad enough and, you know, if you follow some of these tips and you go learn on top of it, because I'm not saying that this is a gospel. You do have it in you. You are capable of doing more. So don't settle for standard. Don't accept the norms of one holiday a month and how you only can, you know, 50k a year is a lot of money and how you need to save those things. Fuck all that. Craft your own journey. Decide what you want and design a life which is going to do it. Don't necessarily follow your passions, but follow the thing which is going to allow you to live your dream lifestyle. And I promise you will become passionate about it and you will win. So I hope you enjoyed some value. That actually took me a super long time to put together, but yeah, I'm going to be doing more videos like this as well. So if you did get any form of value, please feel free to connect on Instagram and drop me a like and follow, because it definitely helps. I'm getting about 50 views at the moment. But thanks guys, till next time.